Hello, everyone. We are back to reading How to Be Your Own Therapist. All right. Did that exercise inspire you? I hope so. I'd like us to work through one final task, keeping in mind what you want for your future. But before we get into that, I'd like to share Callum's story. Callum is a recently qualified dentist I worked with recently who was struggling with anxiety and stress at work. He was a very engaged client and he was keen to change. When he completed his "What do you want in your future" list, he agreed to read it to me at our session. It went something like this: I want to run my own practice by age 35. I want to drive a Range Rover. I want 2 children. As I listened, I was struck by the mechanical, dull tone of his voice. There didn't seem to be any passion for what he was saying. The way he spoke completely lacked energy. I commented on this, and he went quieter and looked at the ground for a long time before speaking. I've just realized this is not my list. It's my father's. Callum's father, who was also a dentist, and Callum had followed in his footsteps his whole life. He had felt immense pressure to please his father and live up to his expectations. Therapy was a very healthy choice for Callum. He was able to find his own voice and work out what he wanted for his life. He also had to work on making changes to unhelpful ways of thinking, some self-destructive behaviors into the direction of his career. I invite you now to go back and read over your list of what you want for your future again. But this time ask yourself these questions. Am I happy with this? Are these my needs and my wishes? Watch out for the people pleasing. Will this bring me a sense of hope, peace, and satisfaction? Amend your list accordingly if you need to. The importance of commitment and patience. 2 of the most common reasons people drop out of therapy. The work involved are difficult, committing, and impatience. We are a generation focused on speed and convenience. We want everything instantly, including massive psychological and behavioral changes. If it isn't short and snappy and to the point, it's difficult to engage people. Therapy, however, does require commitment and patience, and I'll explain why it's worth investing in both. 1. Commitment. I want you to think of your daily commitment to self-therapy as something you do for yourself rather than a piece of work that must be slogged through. This is your opportunity to turn your life, maybe for the first time ever, time you engage with this work, you are respecting yourself. Of course, there are also practical considerations. You are working on changing emotional patterns and patterns of thought and reactions that you have been part of your life for a very long time. As you're essentially rewiring your brain, this will require consistency, but the result will be an incredible ability to manage life completely differently. A helpful way of thinking about this commitment is to have a keyword. You remind yourself of every time you're going to go off track. My keyword is sabotage. I know it sounds strong, but that's a conscious decision. If I don't commit to looking after myself, then I'm sabotaging my well-being. Something about saying that word serves the useful purpose of giving me a kick in the backside. Whatever word you decide on, use it when you need to and make sure it's a shocker. Use a word that you will remember. It will be a cartoon character, something from a movie, or anything that is relevant. What is crucial is that it acts as a clear signal to you that you are off track. A wise supervisor during my training reminded me that therapy without commitment is like using a sunscreen made of cooking oil. It's totally ineffective and can make things worse. And he's right. There's no value in discovering who you are and how you function unless you're willing to do something about it. This is a commitment for life, a better life. Patience. I'm always amused when some clients after a few sessions tell me they're worried therapy isn't working. When I ask them what they'd hope would happen, they tend to say that would have liked it for all to have been sorted out, their life that is. No pressure whatsoever after 3 sessions. It always makes me smile when this happens. I have a standard response every time. You will never have it all sorted out, even if you live to 100. And that's the truth. There's no blissful end state where all of your troubles will vanish and you live happily ever after. That doesn't happen. Life, with all its ups and downs, will continue to happen to you. It's how you respond to the ups and downs that's the key. Patience with the process will help enormously with how you manage life. Let's talk about the words process. Therapy is often described as a process, and the very word implies patience. When I go to an art gallery, I'm always struck by the detail that goes into some of the great works. It reminds me of the hundreds of hours that will have been dedicated to the process. There will have been mistakes, sleepless nights, the ripping up and the starting again, the tears, disillusionment, and of course, the old age question. Will this be good enough? At the time, the painter didn't know that it would eventually become one of them more good enough that it will become a masterpiece in the fullness of time. It is the painter's patience with the process that helps their painting attain greatness. The painter's talent becomes secondary to their patience. What I encourage wholeheartedly is that you encourage patiently. I think I made my point about the importance of carving out time in your day to do the therapy itself, but more fortitude may be required when it comes to awaiting change to take place within you. You may find yourself falling into the following thinking traps. Defeatist. What's the point of all this? Frustrated. I don't have time for this. Impatient. Why am I not feeling better? Avoidant. This is not for me. Defensive. This is all bull. Denial. I'm completely fine. Repression. I'll do this another time. Persecutory. I'm beyond help. As with the key word you're going to be employing when your commitment starts to falter, I encourage you to do the same when you sense your own impatience. If anything, my phrase is missed opportunity. When I'm impatient, I run the risk of missing something incredible. We are all works in progress. Sometimes we need to be reminded not to place unrealistic expectations on ourselves and make things more challenging than they ought to be. Commitment and patience in therapy are both essential. Speaking of the essential ingredients for effective therapy, the next chapter brings us to the other therapy non-negotiable tools, techniques, and tips employed alongside self-care and self-respect. Self-care and self-respect are super important. If you don't take care of yourself, you're rolling downhill, right? You need to always try to better yourself, whether it be mentally, physically. If you want to eat better, if you want to be a better person, you need to want to be a better person. And that's why I'm doing this. I want to be a better person. I want everyone to be better. So have a great day, guys, and I will see you on the next one.